Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creatures of the Realm. Tonight, we're going to talk about dragons. Yes, the almighty dragons, the four-legged the four-legged lizard, the creatures of mystique, mystery, and so forth. We're going to talk about that tonight, episode 8, Creatures of the Realm. But before we begin, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central, check us out. Vampire Dark Ages, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. Anyways, let's begin this awesome episode of Creatures of the Realm. The ancient cultural origins of dragons. We all know dragons. We know them in D&D. We know what they are. We know the chromatic dragon, the black, the red, the blue, the white, the green. We all know those type of dragons. And tonight we're going to talk about the ancient cultural origins behind these dragons. Mesopotamia, just 2 million BC, a millennium BC. Imagine these dragons. They were snake-like birds back then. They were hybrids. In Babylonian mythology, they were Tiamat. Imagine Tiamat. Remember Tiamat? Everybody knows the huge, big bad Tiamat. Well, in Babylonian mythology, these dragons were considered creatures. They were considered hybrids. So let's continue with 4,000 plus years ago. They symbolize, in China, they symbolize power, water, and imperial authority. Imagine this. Imagine these powerful creatures, what they symbolize. You go back in time and you see these things written on walls, hieroglyphs, and so forth. You know that these things, these creatures were powerful. What they represent: strength, power, authority. Now, Persia, they're serpent creatures that swim in the water. You see, that's amazing. Can you imagine? You saw a lot of films with dragons. You had plenty of film, plenty of books, plenty of fantasy novels, whatever. You know that these dragons are powerful. You know they're big. You know they're devious. They're intelligent. So you take the aspects of all these dragons and you put them in your stories. But before we get into that, let's continue on. Medieval folklore. Back in the day, dragons, they symbolized evil and sin. The heroes were saints and angels, and they were saviors and they were slayers of these massive creatures. Now, these dragons were also hoarders in caves, protecting some form of treasure: gold, silver, armor, trinkets, whatever it is. They were protectors of those items. They're hoarders. They love things. They're also shapeshifters. So those are the things you have to think about when you're looking at dragons. But we're going over not just the lore of Dungeons and Dragons. We're going over ancient times, 4,000 plus years ago, Babylonian times, China, Persia, what the dragons symbolize to them. Let me know in the chat about dragons. Do you like dragons? Do you want to have dragons in your campaigns and so forth? Let me know in the chat. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's continue with the physical look. They're four-legged creatures, massive wings. They breathe fire. They breathe acid. That's the D&D version. They fly. Very intimidating creatures. The science and origins of these creatures. Red dragons, They symbolize strength and power. We already went over that with the Chinese, with Babylonian times, and Persian times. Symbol of strength and power. But also, Wales, country of Wales, they have a symbol of a dragon as their flag. Now, imagine that. That's strength, power, determination, all those things that make up a dragon. When you see that, when you know that, you're going to get a bigger picture of what a dragon is. What type of dragon, where you want to take your story to. Let's go into discovery. Archaeologists did discover fossils of a prehistoric reptile. That's cool. So if you want to have that in your head, and you have archaeologists already finding fossils and so forth that are dragons, and I think that's cool. I love dragons. So let's continue on. This is my favorite part of it, the kimono dragon, the largest living lizard. Imagine that. 300-pound beastie, man. 10 feet long, and they are their tails are long. Like I said, 10 feet long, 300 pounds. These things, these creatures, they live in their habitat is the Indonesian island. And they're carnivores. And imagine they're hunting. They're stealthy, they camouflage, they have a venomous bite, and they have this bacteria in the saliva. They can kill the prey. So this kimono dragon, 10 feet long with its tail, can hide, can climb trees, and they're carnivorous. So they're carnivores. So that being said, these dragons, these kimono dragons, are very, very strong creature. Their defense, they have a powerful tail, they have armored scales protect themselves. They climb, but the horrible thing about kimono dragons is they're endangered. They're endangered species. What does that tell you? It tells you that they've been killed, probably poachers. They are known to attack humans. And with respect, yes, I can understand why. There are incredible creatures. Not only dragons are incredible in folklore, but if you take a look at a kimono dragon, what it represents, how strong it is, what it does, how it protects its habitat, how it climbs, how it uses its venom to take out its prey. Those are qualities of a very powerful creature. So I will end with kimono dragon, the Kimono National Park. It was established to protect their habitat. So just remember that. You go online and check it out, and donate some money to help them out, help out the cause. Because kimono dragons, they're endangered. Man, they're very cool. And they are lizards. They're and if you love lizards, you're going to like dragons, and you're going to like kimono dragons. Check them out online. Check out videos of them. They're wonderful. But tonight, we're going over dragons in general. The lore, the not only Dungeons and Dragons, the fictitious part of it, the science part of it, the real life part of it. Those are really good things about dragons. Now, let's do the fantasy part. We all know that in Dungeons and Dragons, there's a wormling, which is medium-sized, It's 5 years or less. That's the age of this dragon category. Then you go up a scale, up a little larger, from 6 to 100 years. That's a young dragon. We have adult, which is huge, which is about 101 years to 800 years. And then you have an ancient, which is gargantuan, which is 801 years or more. What does that mean? What does that mean for us? What does that mean for people who want to run GMs, who want to run games that are Dungeons and Dragons, or any games that have dragons in them? You could describe a dragon. They're also shapeshifters. They can change into humans, change into any type of race they want to. They are intelligent, they're cunning, they're greedy, they love gold, silver, they love things to have, they're hoarders. So imagine this, you have the show you can watch on TV, and it's called Hoarders, and it's amazing. You watch those shows, you have the house, you've got papers, books, you have things thrown all over the house. And what's amazing about that show is hoarding is a problem. Now imagine that, taking it into your campaign, into your story. A dragon hoarding gold, silver, clothes, armor, shield, weapons, whatever it is that you want to put in. They're hoarders. They love things. So throughout the years, they've kept it. So if they killed a party of 10 and they're heroes, the dragon most likely is going to keep all those things. Chromatic dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. What is a chromatic dragon? The black, the blue, the green, the red, and the white represent evil side of dragonkind. Aggressive, gluttonous, vain, chromatic dragons are dark sages and powerful tyrants feared by all creatures, including each other. That being said, I'm not going to go over every aspect of Dungeons and Dragons dragon, but I'll give you the good parts of the Dungeons and Dragons dragon. And let me tell you, chromatic dragons, the black, the red, the white, the different versions of dragons are amazing. My favorite is the white dragon. I love the white dragon. It's all cold ice. I love that. If you go Christmas time, Jack Frost, my favorite character. Those are the aspects that I like. And having a white dragon shapeshift into human, and having beautiful white hair, ice blue eyes, and having this white cloak, or however you want to design it. It can be anything you want. But white dragons are fantastic. Well, let's continue. So you have Queen of Evil Dragons. We all know I discussed Tiamat. But let's go back to Tiamat, Babylonian times. Tiamat, evil dragon. And she exists throughout history. But Tiamat in D&D is a queen of dragons. And let me tell you, she is the epitome of dragon. She's unbelievably strong in the multiverse, and you do not want to mess with this creature, this female dragon, because this creature has 5 heads: the red, black, the blue, green, and white. Different 5 chromatic dragons. That encompasses who Tiamat is. She's incredibly powerful. She has all these abilities, spells, things that can really hurt a party. But that's just a portion of what dragons are. That's just part of their lore, part of their mythology. not just the reality, but the fictitious part. The Black Dragon, the most evil-tempered and vile of chromatic dragons. Black dragons collect the wreckage and treasures of fallen heroes. So, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you could switch up the personality. Because even though the template tells you the most vile, evil of all dragons, in season 2 of my campaign 2 of my story, where we switched to Vampire the Dark Ages, I had a black dragon. Her name was Sophia. Black dragon was female. She had her own intentions, and what she did is she manipulated a young sorceress. Her name was Sophia. So the black dragon took her name. So when she shapeshifted, she was Sophia. She became that human. Now, she was still vile, evil, somewhat, but was she? Dragons are intelligent, and what you consider evil might be vile to you, but in the eyes of an ancient mythological creature, their evil interpretation is going to be a lot different than yours. Because just because someone is conniving and smart and they're going to play you doesn't make them evil. It makes them 10 steps ahead of you. They know the playbook. They know everything before you do. And in a party, if you're a hero and you're witnessing this massive power, this black dragon, you're going to be played because they're intelligent. And evil, the alignment is not, it's not even relevant. It's not even part of who they are. They can be anything. They could be good in your eyes. They can be good for a while, but they're achieving their goals. And like I said, they're greedy. And if their goals are achieved, you may find that you may have an ally that's a dragon, depending on how you want to play it in your campaign or story. And having an ally as a dragon is good, but they have their own intentions. They're intelligent. Not all dragons are going to attack you, but when they do, that's one hell of a fight. So, let's continue on. Black dragon, very, very powerful. Main ability, the main power of a black dragon is the acid attack. Acid attack is very powerful. We all know how to run it. If you are a GM or a DM, you know how to run Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not going to tell you how to run the dragon. I'm going to tell you how. What is best about the dragon. What's the best thing? What does a black dragon do? And the black dragon is all about acid. And it's chaotic evil. The alignment, again, that's up to you. We're going to continue on with, let's go here. I'm not going to even with the blue dragon. Blue dragon is lawful evil. Vain and territorial blue dragons soar through the skies over deserts, preying on caravans and plundering herds and settlements, yada yada yada. So, blue dragons can be played how you want to play them. Again, D&D has a template on how habitat of the dragons. And you can do it. You can have them in a location, a desert, mountain range, where you have the red dragon. The black dragons can be deep within a cave system. However you want to do it. But remember, the blue dragon is cunning, like I just read, vile, all vile, territorial, of course there. The blue dragon is lightning breath. Lightning, magic, that's the blue dragon. And the wing attack, all that stuff, we all know what it does. The blue dragon happens to be white. But let me tell you, they do not have to be evil. The interpretation of what evil is, definition of what evil is. People are going to take evil and they're going to be like, oh, that's a dragon, it's evil, it's automatically evil. They are intelligent creatures. And they're going to use that intelligence to play you in your party. Now, think about it. You are an adventuring party of 10. You are in a cave system. And you happen to approach a lair of a dragon. What do you think the dragon is going to do? You're in my lair, you're in my house. I'm going to protect my house. That's what the dragon's going to do. The dragon is going to protect its treasure. It's going to protect the sword, the shield, the magic items, whatever it is. And the party is going to be, well. We're doing an XP game, not milestone. We need the XP, and we're going to take out this dragon. I don't care what type of story. As a player, you're going to see cha-ching, and you're going to go right to that dragon. So, now that's where the role-playing comes in. That's where the intelligence comes in. That's where the magic comes in. That's where the lore comes in. All those things are important when you are playing a dragon. The tail sweep, the wing attack, flight, do sweeps, fire breath, lightning breath, acid breath. Very, very cool. Okay, we're going to move on. Let's see here. Okay, so a blue dragon. Amazing. Okay, let's go to the next one, the green dragon. The most cunning and treacherous of true dragons. Green dragons use misdirection and trickery to get the upper hand. They're lawfully evil again. And poison is their threat. Misdirection is their thing. They can breathe air and water, they're amphibious, all that stuff. We're going to go over more on blue dragons. Give me a second. Alright, so what is the main thing about green dragons? What makes green dragons so wonderful? They're cunning, they're intelligent. And I don't like that statement. The most cunning of all dragons. All dragons are intelligent. So it's saying that its intelligence is a 20. It's a +5. Well, let's go back stat-wise to the black dragon. To the blue dragon. The blue dragon intelligent is a 16. Really? And then the black dragon intelligent is a 14. But it still has a great modifier. And the green dragon is the intelligent one. It has a +5, which in game terms, that's awesome. Just because you have a high intelligence don't mean shit. But it does mean a lot with spells and so forth, depending on how you play your magic and so forth. Or how you put your points into it. But either way, the template says, D&D Monster Manual says that it's a +5. And what else is that have here? Multi-attack, claw attack, tail, all that is the same. 41,000 XPs. Fancy that. It detects. Its wisdom is amazing. 17 + 3. Very, very good. 385 hit points. Wow. So when you're dealing with all these dragons, they're all cunning and intelligent. One might have a higher stat than the other, wisdom and intelligence, but these are mythological, intelligent creatures, and they're all at a higher peak than all the other races. The humans, tieflings, elves, they're ancient. Well, of course, you're going to deal with, young dragons, wormlings. They're at a lower level. But we all know that it's okay. It doesn't matter. Alright, so let me check my recording levels here. Got a noise. Everything is good so far. The streaming land. Alright, so anything about the poison bread? Poison bread is 90-foot cone. You gotta make a DC of 22 for Constitution. That's 22d6 poison damage. Amazing. Alright, let's go down to the next dragon. The red. We're going to keep the white last for last because I love the white. So, and I'm not going to, we're going to keep it last for last. So the red dragon. The red dragon, chaotic evil, of course. Red dragons. The most covetous of true dragons. Red dragons tirelessly seek to increase their treasure hoards. They're vain, well, even for dragons, they are conceited, very proud, and they have disdain for other creatures. And their odor is sulfur and that stuff. So that's all, to me, it's all crap. I mean, if you want to throw that in, you can. And let me tell you why. Because when you have a dragon in the game, you're the storyteller, you're the DM or GM, you're creating the story and the setting and the element. So when those characters come into the lair, it can be a cunning dragon, it can be the most vile dragon, like the template of dragons, like it reads. But, all that can be changed. It can be a feeble dragon. It can be a dragon that maybe it was in chains, locked for centuries, and now you guys found a way to free it. So those are elements of the story that you could bring in to make it interesting, not just vile creatures and no, that's boring. You can go ahead and throw some spice in it. Use the historic portion, like the players found a hieroglyph of a reptile with wings, stuff like that. Just bring something in your game that can pull your players in. Not just, oh man, we're going up against a dragon. I know what it is. It's a young dragon. It's an ancient dragon. Oh, it's going to have a certain amount of hit points. Nope. Homebrew it. I homebrew a lot of my creatures for a reason. And the reason is because players know all too well the gameplay. They know the playbook. They know the Dungeon Master's Guide. They know the Monster Manual. They know all those things. So they know there's creatures in those books, and they know that it's going to have a certain amount of hit points, and this is what they need to do. Yeah, you're using your mind. You're out of the realm of the playbook. You're going to throw in a little bit of spice in there. maybe change things up, maybe give him more hit points, maybe change the style of the dragon. It's not correct. It's not evil. It happened to be good. Maybe some other dragon pissed him off, or maybe he pissed her off. Maybe someone took the dragon eggs, and she was laying eggs, and her babies are gone. Her younglings are gone. Now she is, recruiting a party to find the eggs because she's hurt. She's dying. However you want to do it, make it good. Make it fast and hard, or make it amazing. Throw in that element. Don't just look at the monster manual and read and say, the scales of the red wormling are bright, glossy, and scarlet. Really? You can create what you want. They shapeshift. But you notice the template of all the dragons, there is nothing that says they're shapeshifters. But if you look at their effects, their background, they're going to tell you scheme like the green dragon. They're schemers, conflict and corruption, living treasures. The green dragon's favorite treasure. They're going to tell you all this stuff. I'm going back to the green dragon real quick. So there's nothing in here that says they're shapeshifters. But if you read other texts, they're shapeshifters. And that's amazing. They're wonderful at magic. But if you read the template, there's nothing in here with magic. Absolutely nothing. The adult. Let's go with the ancient red dragon. Before I go to the best of all dragons, white. The adult. The ancient red dragon. 546 hit points, folks. Nothing in here says shapeshifter. So, if I'm a first-time DM, I would look. It has legendary resistance, detect, tail attack. Yep. No shape-shifting ability. Nothing. So, let's go back. Let's take a look at the very beginning of the dragon text for Dungeons & Dragons 2014 Dungeon Monster Manual. Let's go back all the way up where it tells you about dragons. It tells you that they love the horde. They're aggressive, they're vain. Creatures of ego, they have layers. Talk about the dragon queen. And yet, if you look at her template, she's terrible and she's got all this magic. Various. You could use dragons as magical creatures. There you go. There you go. Yeah. True dragons are winged reptiles of ancient lineage and fearsome power. They are feared to their predatory cunning and greed. The oldest dragons are counted as some of the most powerful creatures in the world. Dragons are also magical creatures. There you go. You got your magic. They breathe. They have breath weapons. We all know that. We're going over all the dragons and what they do. So, they can live for 1,000 years, and yeah, they're hoarders, pretty much. But it doesn't say that they shapeshift. Let me look. Maybe I'm not reading it right. Let me look. I'm just going over the monster manual, guys. Give me 1 second. And then we'll tell you that they say everything else. They fall into 2 categories, chromatic and metallic dragons. The brass, the bronze, the copper, the gold, the silver dragons are noble, good, highly respected, but wise. And those would be the metallic dragons. But no shapeshift. Let's go up. No shapeshifting. The shadow dragon. Yeah, even the shadow dragon don't have the shapeshifting ability. The Draco Lich. Yes, very cool creature as well. Yep. No shapeshifting ability. That is through history and lore, mythological portion of dragons, which we talked about earlier in the beginning of the stream. We talked about what the dragons symbolize in Babylonian times, mythology. Tiamat, the dragon of chaos. So 4,000 years plus dragons they symbolize power, imperial authority, water. Yep. They're cunning. They're shapeshifters as well. Hoarders and shapeshifters. That is the mythology, the science, folklore, and you bring that into your game, you're going to have more depth into your story. You're not going to just have a template that says wing attack, breath attack, acid, fire attack. You're going to bring all those elements of that template and add a little bit of spice into it. Shape-shifting. Well, the black dragon, no, the black dragon cannot do good. It can't. You gotta remember, they are intelligent creatures. And I'm not, it sounds like I'm defending their alignment, their change of alignment. And I am. Because their change of alignment can be persuasive in persuading others to do their bidding. So they're still evil, but they're persuading people. They're showing another part of themselves. In Vampire the Masquerade, in Dark Ages, there's nature and demeanor. Nature is who you really are, and demeanor is who you present yourself to be to others. So if you are evil, your nature would be evil. Your demeanor might be a hero, a good guy. And you're going to role play that hero and good guy for that session. And that's what dragons do. It doesn't matter what alignment they are. And if they're chromatic or metallic, they have their own intentions. You got to remember the dragons, they're hoarders. They love all these things. And they're going to have their own agendas, whether they're metallic or chromatic. You got to understand that. And people are like, oh, wait a second. There's no freaking way that a red dragon is going to be fighting for this army. Well, maybe this red dragon was bored. Maybe he's shapeshifted. He shifted into a human warrior and wanted to fight with an army of humans. Maybe he wanted to fight for cause. Maybe boredom. If you lived in a cave for a long time, for a millennia, what would you do? You had all that power, all that strength. What would you do? Wouldn't you want to have fun? Maybe go into the world of humans? a different multitude of races and find out how to change things, I would. That's what I would do. And that's how I use dragons in my games. I give them personality. Not just I'm evil, I'm going to tear you apart. No, I don't just do that. Every dragon in my games, they have a personality. They have their own personality, their own agendas, and they're going to go ahead and do what they feel is right. And their alignment is going to be on what they think is right. So you can look at lawful good dragons, and they're going to be, oh yeah, you're Bahamut. He's such a good dragon, but he has his own agenda too. He does. All right, so let's go into my favorite. I gotta scroll down here. I'm at the black dragon. You hear my dog in the background barking? It's okay. She's my little dragon. Nellie's about 16 years old, and she is very old, and we are the wheelchair. We have to pick her up from one location to another. And she can barely walk on all her fours. She struggles, so we have to pick her up, and she's a good dog. So we love her to death, and she hasn't kicked off yet, and I hope she doesn't. But she's a wonderful dog. She barks. She barks her everything. Bark, 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 bark. So you're gonna hear that bark in the background, and no matter what I try to keep the noise out of my streams, if you hear her in the backdrop of my dogs, you're gonna hear dogs. Can't stop them. Can't. So sorry about that, but you're gonna hear some form of dog in the background. So I always say, in the backdrop, you hear dog in the distance. So let me continue on. Went over red dragons. Last but not least, yes, the best of all dragons. The smallest, least intelligent, and most animalistic of hermetic dragons. White dragons dwell in fringe climates. All right, let me stop right there. Let me stop. In season 1 of my D&D story, I had an NPC. Her name was Honora. She was a human. And her story arc started in the 6-part series called the 6-part arc called The Arena. And Honora was stuck in a cell. In her part of the story, she was feeble, she was weak. And a white dragon in the form of a human wanted to know love, wanted to know what is love. And Honora tried to explain that to her. I'm sorry, it was to her as well. Tried to explain what love is, but she couldn't do it well. So the dragon made a bet. Said, okay, let me help you be strong. I will give you strength and power. So Honora was beaten. She was a fighter for the arena. And her legs were broken. Her arms were battered. She was bloody. And the white dragon gave her a choice and said, look, I can help you if you help me. You show me what love is. I will experience that. And I will give you strength and power. So Honora agreed. She was in a weak state. She agreed. So the white dragon took over her life. White dragon was a white ancient dragon took over her life. And that began the story of Honora, my white dragon. I do have a miniature. Hang on a second. I do have her Here, excuse me one moment. And this is Honora. That's the mini. And she, a white dragon. And she was amazing. She was the good character of the game. Honora was good, but the white dragon wasn't. The white dragon, she wanted to know what love was. She wanted to know what makes you tick as a human. She doesn't understand humanity that well. So she wanted to understand it. So she merged with the human. So they became one. So Honora is a white dragon. And from time to time, she changed into a white dragon. But she befriended the party. The party was with her. And all of season 1 was Honora's story. And her story began in the story arc of the arena. How she was, how she turned, and how she met White Dragon. Now let's go back, because the template for the White Dragon is BS. I don't like it, but I took that template and I changed it, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. So, you already have, it's telling you it's the dumbest of all dragons. Now, remember, it does not have to be. Hit points, 333 ancient, 20 armor class, intelligence 10. I didn't like it. I bumped up the intelligence, I bumped up wisdom, very low. Charisma as well, with Lenora. I gave her a personality. And I gave her magic, of course. Limited, but I did give her magic. But a lot of her attacks, of course, are ice. And I kept everything like legendary resistance and stuff. Hold breath. I kept that damage rating. I didn't mess with the strength and dexterity. I did mess with the intelligence, the wisdom, and the charisma. Those are the 3 stats that I messed with when I homebrewed her. When I made Honora. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm trying to make that in every DM or storyteller, you have a creature, and there's a template. And that template is going to give you ideas. Make it better. Make it worthy of the show. Make it worthy of the characters, the players in your game. If it's an NPC and, oh, it's a white dragon, it's not going to be stupid. These are intelligent creatures. They're all intelligent. In my world, they are all intelligent. They're not dumb. By any means. And I disagree wholeheartedly. So we're going to go and look at more of the BS that I'm reading. White dragon has feral eyes, sleek profile, and spine crest. Scales of a wormling white dragon glisten in pure white. As the dragon ages, its sheen disappears, and its scales begin to darken. That makes sense because it's getting older. I get it. Alright, so everything else is pretty much standard, right? Primal and vengeful. White dragons lack the cunning and tactics of most other dragons. However, their bestial nature makes them the best hunters among all dragon kind. I can see them being hunters, which having a high perception is stealth +2, which is based off wisdom. But the wisdom let's see, going back to the ancient dragon. Their wisdom is a +1, the ancient dragon. Okay, so they're lone masters. White dragons avoid all dragons except whites of the opposite sex. Even then, when white dragons seek each other out as mates, they stay together only long enough to conceive offspring before fleeing into isolation. And look. Treasure under ice. White dragons love cold sparkle of ice and favor treasure with similar quality. I get it. I like that part of it. Layer of dragons, all icy caves, all that stuff. Pits. And if you want to use layer action, you can. Makes the game even more intense, especially for your game. Now, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it. My favorite is the white. Number 1 is the white dragon. Love the white. The second is the black. You have the white, the black, the blue, the green. And then finally the red. I'm not much of a fireball guy. I mean, it's cool, but you know, it is what it is. But think about it. You have the white with the ice. You have the black with the acid. And you have the green, the blue, and then the red. However you want to do it, the green and the blue, they're both good. But my least favorite is the red. The white is my favorite, the black is my second. Those two kick all forms of ass. Now, it all depends on how you want to run it. Folks, remember, it all depends on you. You can do what you want, say what you will. Because the book of the monster manual is going to have all these templates, and you're going to be templates, and you're going to be, wow, I love this creature. And then the party is going to one-shot the creature because, you know, you're using that template to the T. And there's nothing wrong with that unless you know a way to bring the spice, bring the lore in. Remember I said in the beginning of the stream, the party entered the cave, they found these hieroglyphs of this lizard with a long tail and wings. Maybe that's giving them a hint that there's something in this cave that's mythological, nasty. So they continue on. And we're in the ice cave. It's cold. Stalactites, stalagmites, they drip with ice. The floor is slick. They can't walk. It's going to be at disadvantage. It's going to be at disadvantage. So all those things, you're going to take those things into account. And no, the white dragon isn't dumb. I do not like that at all. Are they good hunters? Yes. See, here's the thing. Here's the stupidity of it. They say that other dragons are cunning. But the white dragon is a master predator at hunting, but they're idiots. Not very smart. But they're good at hunting, which makes them dangerous. Well, you have to be smart to hunt. You can't be an idiot. Because if you make a mistake, you die. And, sorry, you have to be smart to hunt. And if you are a dragon, and if you are hunting a prey, you have to be smart. So that comment alone, that statement, is complete BS. Let's take a look. Right here at the white dragons. Right at the very first sentence. The smallest, least intelligent, and most animalistic of chromatic dragons. Now, I know you hear me now. So now, you go into the, where is it? White dragons lack the cunning and tactics and most other dragons. However, their bestial nature makes them the best hunters among all dragons. Why? They lack the cunning for tactics. So, when you're hunting, they just attack. There's no tactic. So not having any tactic, according to what that template is saying, is you're just attacking. No tactic. There's no waiting at the proper moment. That's a tactic. You're going to wait till they pass a certain point of the layer before you attack. What are those things? That's all tactics. Everything is a tactic. Why would they even say that? Why would they even write that? And we're not cutting enough? Let's go back to that. I really despise what they say. The least intelligent and the most animalistic of chromatic dragons, white dragons dwell in fringe climes. White dragons lack the cunning and tactics of most other dragons. They devour creatures killed by its breath weapon while they're still stiff and frigid. Wow. Pretty gruesome. But not only that, they lack the wherewithal, right? They lack the knowledge, the skill, tactics to do anything. They just jump at you. And they're stupid, so they're going to go ahead and attack and use their claws, their wings, breath, attack. But to use all that, that takes time, right? That takes knowledge. It takes something. Doesn't it? Let's take a look at the template again. The ancient dragon has a wing attack. And the legendary action will detect. The dragon makes a wisdom perception check. They detect. They notice things. Something is missing from their lair. Treasure. Wouldn't that make them intelligent? Oh, they're only perceptive, but they're not intelligent. Okay. No. It all depends on how you want to run it, guys. That's basically it. How you want to run it, how you want to do it, how you want to make these beautiful, intelligent, mythological creatures yours. It's your campaign, your story. Make them as powerful, as weak, as intelligent. How you want it. You can use a boring template from the Dungeon Master's book or the Monster Manual. I'm saying Dungeon Master book, sorry. The Monster Manual. Extract it. Make it yours, or take it out of the book. And the players will one-shot your creature. And the players will not have a difficult time or a fun time because they know how many hit points this dragon has. They know doesn't fly, it's a worm. No, it's nothing. You can deal with it. It's only a worm. Oh, it's a young dragon. Not a big deal. There's 5 of us. What if that human shifted into the dragon? What if that human drew his weapon? That was made by us. He thought he had magic. And then he changed into a dragon for its final phase, combat. You fought the magic side, now you're going to fight the dragon. What if he did that? Or what if the dragon was an orc? What if the dragon was confronted and the players may have to make a decision. Help this dragon out or not. There's an intelligent aspect in these mythological creatures. It all depends on how you would. It's all the time I have tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central for Vampire: The Dark Ages. Here's a book, folks. This is the game we're doing for Campaign 3. Join us. Subscribe, like, let everyone know. We're gonna have a lot of folks here. We have a new player tomorrow night. So join us. I'll see you. Have a great night.